it appears that the payday lending industry is losing some of its momentum. In fact, there hasn't been an initiative that they brought before a state since 2005 that has actually passed, because the people in our communities recognize that 300% interest rate is not a good interest rate. And in D.C., as I understand it, it has been prohibited. Payday loans are now prohibited, as they are in New York and other places. And I've got to believe that in huge communities like that, where there are a high percentage of low-income people, they're finding other ways to get credit when they need it. The question I have for you, Ms. Fox, is the following. What are the loopholes in this bill?
The bill defines a covered payday loan as only closed-end, so it leaves out all the payday lenders who've turned their product into an open-end product. For example, in Virginia, Advanced America makes open-end loans. Same cost structure, same term for the loan. It's just they called it open-end. It would not be subject to this bill. Any loan that was for longer than the 90-day definition would not be covered by this bill. And payday lenders have already changed the term of their loans in order to get around that kind of definition as well. We're also concerned that the credit services organization model, which is used widely in Texas, Texas has never passed a payday loan industry bill to allow payday lending. Their Texas Finance Commission rules would permit it under their regular small loan law, but most lenders in Texas call themselves credit services organizations and charge a high fee for arranging a loan with some third-party lender. It's not clear to me that they would be subject. So we have a bill that would leave out almost all of payday lending in Illinois, probably all of it in Texas, a big chunk of it in Virginia, and it would be very easy for lenders in 10 of the 23 states that permit higher than the 390% cap in this bill to just change their product into an installment product, because there's no rate cap on installment lending. So it would be very easy to get around the definitions in this bill and keep right on charging 500, 600% without violating this bill.
So what would improve the bill?
It would improve the bill to prohibit holding the personal check as security for the loan, to make these loans on the basis of a contract.
Let me ask you a question on that. Yeah. It seems to me almost illegal, because you're not supposed to provide a check if you don't have sufficient funds.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
So they're basically asking the person to conduct themselves in an illegal manner by offering up that check that they don't have sufficient funds to use.
That's true, and in some states the payday loan law has to exempt these customers from being subject to the criminal bad check law because otherwise they would be. But the lender knows you don't have money in the bank when they take the check, but they hold it, and that adds costs for consumers. In Virginia, people paid in 2007 about $5 million to their own banks in bounce check fees because their payday loan checks were returned.
Okay, so that would improve the bill. What else would improve the bill?
A longer loan repayment term. If you gave people 5 months to repay your payday loan as structured here at $15 per 100, that gets it down to 36% APR. We know from the chart I included in my testimony that the typical family making $35,000 a year cannot pay all of this back out of one.
The time of the gentleman.
So we had so far established that if you would not require them to hold a blank check, that would be an improvement to the bill. If you could provide within this bill a longer repayment period, that would improve the bill. What else would you?
And a reasonable small loan rate cap. Competition does not drive down the cost of payday lending. You may have a payday lender on every corner, but they are all typically charging the legal rate. It takes a rate cap to bring down the cost of loans to consumers who have little power in the market. And the traditional small loan rate cap of 36% is a reform that consumers say they want to have. If you do polling that was released just this last week, 70% of Americans want a rate cap of 36% or less to protect consumers from rate gouging. And that's the rate cap that was upheld in voting at the polls in both Ohio and Arizona last fall. Consumers don't think that creditors should be allowed to charge 400% interest.
Hey, Ms. Fox, just to point out to you, when I introduced the bill that would create a usury rate of 36%, I had people in my district calling me saying that's too high. Well, so they would find this particular conversation particularly interesting, I think. I yield back.